there was a family friend, Paul Ashford, who was in the band Step Aside. He had a place on Westmoreland Street, and I went down there and got my first lesson. And I remember it was like he rang my mum and he was like, I think he could have a knack for this or an aptitude. So that was a great feeling. So I just went from there. I kind of like joined a band straight away in Churchtown, and then through various people I heard of New Park and went there. So once I started in New Park, that was it really. I had a great year, like I was really lucky with the guys that were in my year. I'd like, I don't know, Greg Felt and Sean Carpio, Dan Jacobson, Phil McMullen, all these guys were in my class. So there was a great, it was a healthy competition, but it's great to be around. Like Darrow Kelly was in my year as well. I still play with those guys to this day. After I finished in New Park, I would have joined Phil Ware's trio, and Kevin Brady would have been on drums, and we really cut our teeth as a rhythm section in Dublin around that time, the early 2000s. We became like a backing trio for singers, we played with a lot of singers, and I remember Herb Dade was a singer that we started out with, and then we just moved on to playing with other people, and we ended up having a residency in JJ's on every Monday night for a year. Like for 3 weeks of the month we played with Irish artists, and then Brian Smith, who was the owner of JJ, said, well, you can have an international artist once a month and I'll cover the flights and accommodation and you guys pay the artist. And so that was a great opportunity for us, because we got to play with, the great English tenor saxophone player Bobby Wellens and the great English singer Ian Shaw, great Swedish trumpet player Anders Bergkrantz, all these guys. So that really worked out great for us, and like Ian Shaw used us as his trio when he did his residency in Ronnie Scott's. I remember one time we did a few nights in Ronnie Scott's with Ian Shaw, and he used us for like a week in Pizza Express Jazz Club in London as well, so that was great. And then myself and Kevin really formed we just had a strong bond as a bass player drummer, and we went on to play with Bill Carruthers and Larry Coryell, who were obviously great musicians, and we learned so much from those guys. And now like Seamus Blake has been added into the trio with Bill and Kevin. So it was great to just take the experience of playing with those guys and maybe bring it to our Irish projects like the Tommy Halferty trio, or just Greg Lloyd, whatever, just various acts that we play with in Dublin. So that was pretty much how I got started. Geez, I wouldn't even know where to start with my influences, well, Christian McBride would be one. I suppose like guys that I'd be into might be like, I remember seeing people like Drew Gress and Peter Washington, Ben Allison. The first time I saw those guys play, it was really like a light bulb moment for me. And I actually got to hang out and study with those guys as well, really. I saw Peter Washington in 2002 with Louis Stewart, and I got to hang out with him. He actually came up to Dublin for a week after that weekend and just hung out and had a great time. And I was only kind of starting the double bass around then, so he was really able to give me some amazing pointers, and it wasn't like there was no official kind of lessons or anything. It was just like he actually came to see me play, I remember, in the Globe, and after the gig, he was like, okay, tomorrow, let's get together, and I've just got a few things that I want to point out to you. Maybe the summer after that, I went over to New York and hung out with him as well, and that was an amazing experience. I remember I was studying at a school in Brooklyn, and he was like, I was just hanging out with him, and he was like, what are you doing tomorrow? And I was just like, oh, nothing, going into the college and doing my studies. And he was like, no, you want to learn the real stuff. Come, I'm in the studio tomorrow with Jimmy Cobb and Cedar Walton, so come and hang out. And I got to spend the whole day in Avatar Studios with Jimmy Cobb, Peter Washington and Cedar Walton, and afterwards go out and hang out with them that evening as well, which was incredible. And then with Drew Gress and Ben Allison, I actually just studied with them privately. I got lessons off them, went to New York and studied with those guys. So I suppose the first link might have been with Darren. I knew about Darren's playing for like a long time, years, like maybe 15 years before I actually got to meet him and play with him. So I suppose it would have been possibly sometime, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, and he was stuck for a bass player up in Belfast with he had a piano player, a great piano player, Ollie Howe, and they were doing a tour. So I filled in on bass, and that was just how I hit it off with Darren. And then Darren lived in New York for a long time, so he was the connection with George and Stéphane. He met those guys over there. It's really amazing to hook up with George and Stéphane. Like George would have been like some of my favorite concerts that I saw when I was coming up would have been George. Like I saw him in the Blue Note with the Lonnie Plaxico band, I remember, and the Cork Jazz Festival with Jeff Ballard and Paul Bollenbeck. They were both incredible gigs, blew my mind, and to be honest, I never thought that I'd ever get a chance to play with George, so I don't take it for granted, playing with a guy of that calibre. And then with Stéphane and Darren, we just kind of had a trio as well, like a saxophone trio, and we've been playing quite a lot. So with George, we did a trio tour, and we recorded a live album. And then the next time George was coming over, Darren suggested we should get Stéphane involved. So that's how that happened. And I suppose we had like a week-long tour, and I think I just had a bunch of tunes written, and we kind of had like a half a day here and half a day there. And I was like, I was kind of saying, do you think you guys would be into just recording a few of my tunes? We probably did 2 half days in the studio, and it came out so well that it was like, okay, we should really try and mix this and release it. So this tour that's coming up at the end of September, beginning of October, is basically just kind of the release of that album. So we recorded 10 original tunes, maybe more actually. Like a couple of them didn't even make it onto the record because there was just not enough time. There's kind of an extra track on the CD, which, because the vinyl is you can only put like 21 minutes per side on the vinyl, and the guys absolutely, they sound brilliant off. Those guys always sound great. So it was just a nice opportunity to record some of my original tunes, and and then the guys were like, "Oh, you have to put a tour together now," and I was like, "No thanks." But here we are. So the tour will start on the 25th of September in the Cooler. And then we've got basically a week of concerts around Ireland and the UK. We're in Belfast, Westport, Navan, Jeez, I can't think of them all. We've got 2 gigs in the UK, Birmingham and London. So, yeah, we've got one in Arthur's. We've got one in Wexford, Johnstown. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, so it'll be an intense week, but yeah, really looking forward to it and getting a chance to tour and play with the guys. So the album will be released on the 3rd of September on all platforms. So yeah, it's kind of like I think it's a good time to release it with the lead up to the tour at the end of September. So that's what's happening. I think the scene is really strong at the moment. I think it's brilliant. You can literally go to a jazz gig every night of the week now in Dublin. I suppose when I started, it was kind of like that as well. It was like when I started gigging, it was probably 2002, around that time. And I remember Sunday was a big jazz day in Dublin. We used to, sometimes we'd do 3, or I even did 4 gigs on a Sunday a couple of times. Jazz is becoming popular again with young people, which is great to see. And yeah, I think there's some really great players coming up, all the young guys. I'm playing with this great singer at the moment, Dana Masters, and we'll have some stuff next year with her and with Darren and Stéphane. We're doing a thing next year with an arranger called Stéphane Orlando with the Edinburgh String Quartet. We're doing some recording in Belgium and some concerts. Kevin Brady, he's planning to take his project out of Ireland. I think he's planning to do a tour in Europe next year. What else? Just continue on with everyone I play with, I guess. Yeah, there you go.